and I wake up and my bed is surrounded by firemen and paramedics. They told me that I may have side effects from immunotherapy. Little did I know, immunotherapy would not be the best for me, and it did not work out so well. I nearly died. I believe it was 5 or 6 different times. Can you imagine how awful that was for my husband? Actually, I believe it was harder for him than even for me. But to see someone that you love and like 5 or 6 different times, you're like, okay, well, this is it. Like, this is it. Today's the day that she died. I got a rare side effect from immunotherapy. Sadly, months and months went by before any of the doctors realized what was causing the fact that I would continually almost die multiple times. The last time being all the way in the ICU. I remember telling my husband, you just don't understand. Like, I can't get up. I can't move. I can't get off the couch. I cannot get in your truck. I cannot get down the stairs. You're going to have to call 911. When the ambulance picked me up, my blood pressure was 40/20. Yes, you did hear that correctly. And they thought that the machine was broken. And they kept trying it again because they also could not believe that my blood pressure was 40/20. The side effect causes some type of disconnection between the pituitary gland and the adrenals, causing the adrenals to not produce any cortisol. When you think of cortisol, you think cortisol's bad. You think of cortisol as the stress hormone. Cortisol is the life hormone. You cannot live without cortisol. What was happening to me the 5 or 6 times was adrenal crisis. It includes nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, unconsciousness, but also some of this was awake unconsciousness. Like, I was awake and moving, but so many things were blacked out. The first time that I ended up in the hospital, I remember asking the front desk for a ride to the hospital. The next thing I remember is I'm holding on to the side of this hospital bed, and I'm looking up at this female doctor, and I'm telling her, you don't understand. Something is wrong. You can't have me leave. Like, something's really wrong. I don't know what's wrong, but something's really wrong. I remember these words so clearly. Ma'am, there are other people waiting for this bed. She thought I was a drug addict, I guess. Little did she know I was dying, and she sucks. And I have no idea, how did I get back to the hotel room? Like, how did I walk out of the emergency room? How did I walk to get into a car to get back to the hotel? When I got back to the hotel, how did I get back in my room? Who put me in my room? Who drove me to the hotel? The next thing I remember, I believe, was maybe the next morning. And I wake up and my bed is surrounded by firemen and paramedics. Apparently 2 or 3 or 4, actually, or 5 of my closest friends and loved ones were calling the front desk. And of course, it's not easy. You can't say, oh, go into someone's room. It's not taken lightly. They were just calling. And they were like, she's going to die if you don't get in that room and call 911. Eventually, they listened. And that's how I woke up with the firemen and paramedics surrounding my bed. And then it was black again. I briefly remember being in the ambulance this time. And I briefly remember being somehow cognizant enough to say, don't take me to this particular hospital, take me to a different one because they kicked me out and something's wrong with me. I don't even remember a single thing about that emergency room visit. I do remember being released yet again because apparently adrenal crisis is a rare thing. It's not common, so they don't know what to do and they don't know what's happening. My husband decided that he would come to get me. He was going to get off his plane. It was like lined up perfectly. I was going to be there and then we were going to get on the plane to come home. When he gets there, I am laying on the floor of the airport, vomiting everywhere. They had to clear the tarmac to get the ambulance to come and get me out of the airport terminal. I don't remember much of anything after the airport. I end up in the hospital. I end up there for over a week. No one can figure out what's wrong. Meanwhile, I'm in adrenal crisis, which is life-threatening the whole time. I'm mostly unconscious, but I can talk a little bit and I can move. And so it's very disturbing because I can't articulate my words. To top it all off, it was still around COVID and he could not stay with me. And the nurse was like, I'm sorry, you can't stay here. And he's like, I don't even have anything. I was just grabbing her. We were getting on the plane. I don't have my medicine. I don't have a toothbrush. I don't have clothes. I have absolutely nothing. I don't Uber. I don't even have the app. Like, where do you want me to go? Where am I supposed to go? It's at nighttime in a city I've never been in. My wife is practically unconscious and you're telling me that I can't stay here. Just so awful. It happened a couple more times. That last one being with my blood pressure 40/20 and laying on the couch and not being able to get up. They took me to one hospital. They took me to another hospital. I ended up staying there for a week as well. This time I was in the ICU. I remember most of the ICU. I don't know what makes that time different. This time I remember saying, wait a minute, did you just give me steroids? Like through the IV? And the nurse says, yes. And I said, I feel it. I instantly feel a difference. I wonder if that's what's going on. During chemo, they had me on steroids to help with side effects, and I don't know the full reason. I'll find out and share that with everyone. But then after you start to get off, and every time I would start to wean off of the steroids, that's when these things would happen. I had MRIs of the brain and all these extra tests that I didn't even need because this is what was going on. And so I started telling people, my medical professional, my medical team, like, it's something to do with the steroids. That's what's going on. One of the last times I spent a week or so in the hospital locally, they ran every test possible. I mean, I had like the endo thing this way and I had the colonoscopy thing that way, and they just tested every single thing. Nothing was wrong. Like, they could find nothing wrong. And that's the other problem with the other hospitals. Like, no one can find anything wrong. They don't see anything wrong with me. It's just like, why is she being weird? Why is she, this, that, and the other? And that's when all the 2 and 2 started coming together, that yes, this was a rare side effect of immunotherapy. And I have been diagnosed with adrenal insufficiency, secondary adrenal insufficiency, not to be confused with Addison's disease. As of now, and since then, I've had to take steroids every single day, life-saving steroids. According to the endocrinologist, which I am changing, by the way, because I do not believe being put in a box and I do not believe everything that I am told. He says that you're going to be like this for the rest of your life and you're going to have to take steroids for the rest of your life. I said, I don't believe it. The body does amazing things and I don't believe it. And recently I told my oncologist just a few weeks ago, you mark my words, I will be coming in here and I will be telling you my adrenals are healed. They're healed and I don't need these steroids anymore. You see, cortisol is the stress hormone. You are correct, but it's also the life hormone. A big disadvantage, aside from dying if I forget to take them for a few days, it's really hard to know when to updose, because the other thing that cortisol does for you is it helps to manage stress and things like that, whether it be physical stress or mental stress. It helps to manage those things. If you're going through this, your body's just going to updose. It's just going to updose what you need. If I'm going through this, I have to stop and say, wait a minute. Oh, I'm dealing with this right now. Let me updose the steroids so that I don't end up crashing. I would really love to heal this because, number one, I don't want to take steroids for the rest of my life or ever again. Number two, it makes it difficult because I've spent 95 or 8% of my life functioning in a certain way, and now I'm supposed to try to figure out how to function in a different way. I will go about my days and so on and so forth, and maybe I'll have a couple busy days in a row, and then by the next day I'm literally crashed the whole entire day. Crashed because I've gone beyond depleting the depleted already, if that makes sense, because I'll forget to updose. Not only is everyday life a challenge by having adrenal insufficiency. It's hard to travel as well, because it's like, what's the perfect balance, right? What's the perfect balance of the updose? When we went to Hawaii, it was a lot. It was like a 10 or 11 hour day. And one of the last times I thought, okay, well, it's time to updose. We were on the last flight, and there was about 3 or 4 hours left in the flight, and it was nighttime. And I thought, okay, well, I don't need to updose because it's a balance, right? I don't want to stay awake for 2 days from updosing too much, but I need to make sure that I have what I need. And I decided not to updose because I was like, well, it's the last flight, and there's only, not that many hours left of it, and then we're going to go to the hotel room. And well, I remember just before, like, being in the car with the Uber driver, and just before exiting, getting really agitated, like, okay, no one talk to me, just leave me alone. And then getting into the hotel itself. Normally when I get to a room, I'm unpacking, and I'm putting things in drawers, and I'm getting really organized, and putting things where they go. I dropped everything, told my husband, I can't talk about anything, please don't ask me any questions. Got in bed after just dropping everything. The next time we were headed to Denver, and I was like, I'm not gonna let that happen again. Like, this is not good, because not only did I start to black out at the hotel, but it took me almost 3 days to get back to normal. And that was even doing the updose of the emergency injections of the steroids. We go to Denver. I'm like, this is not going to happen again. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to make sure I updose. I updose. We get to Denver. That first day is just great. That first night, I never, ever could go to sleep. It was about 5:30 in the morning when I was finally able to fall asleep. Needless to say, then I lost most of that second day staying in the bed. Definitely a delicate balance, my friends, a delicate balance. Here are the lessons to learn. Number 1, always advocate for yourself. Always advocate for yourself. Always double check what you're being told. Check multiple sources. I like to check 5 sources most of the time. When it came to the steroids, I was originally put on 30 milligrams a day. I'm only 120 pounds. That's a lot. I didn't know any better. It was just didn't feel right, and it was just too much. I started playing with it myself, and at one point I got him to go down to 10 milligrams in the morning and then 15 in the afternoon. And again, I just felt like it was just too much. I was actually able to find a sweet spot for me, and it was 10 milligrams in the morning, assuming I'm not traveling, of course. 10 milligrams in the morning, and that does me pretty darn good. Of course, I have to updose when I'm having a crazy day, or I'm going through stress, I'm physically doing a lot or mentally doing a lot. Then I'll have to updose. But I think that there's no one size fits all with any of these things. And you'll probably hear me say this a lot. Just because they have a white coat on does not mean they take your power. Do not give your power away. Do not give your power away. I am looking for a new endocrinologist. Another doctor I was at, she said, oh, well, this endocrinologist, just opened up recently, but she's a little bit also kind of alternative. And I'm like, exactly. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Think outside the box, bring in other modalities when they need to be brought in, merge more than one direction, which has worked for me in this health journey. I will keep you posted as to how that goes. I have that appointment in a couple weeks, so I'm very, very much looking forward to that. Sometimes there are some things we're just not going to be able to avoid during this health journey. If you're a loved one watching this, all that you can do is support us the best that you can. Sometimes that's bringing us a meal. Sometimes that's just listening. We don't need the advice. We just want to express the emotions. We just want to have the conversation. If you're a survivor watching this, I want you to know that there is life beyond the diagnosis. There's absolutely life beyond the diagnosis. You have to believe there is. Before anything else, you must believe it to be true. Until next time, sending you so much love and light.